Good morning, everybody. Mike Vacchi, Princetontrader.com, here with your Wednesday market webcast. Okay, so we've talked about, this is a daily chart, consolidation, expansion, lower band ride, getting way out of the lane there below the gray line there, which is your third standard deviation band. The bears doing their typical give up 100 handles. We went back up yesterday to test the second standard deviation lower band on the daily chart, which we talked about in yesterday morning's webcast. That plays into what I've always, the term that I've coined over the years called channel day. Okay, we did 41 yesterday, our worst day of August. The volatility is still there, although yesterday in the regular session it got a little bit choppy. So Globex has been interesting. They took it down into the low 60s. They've bounced it back into the 80s off of Europe Open, and we're just kind of consolidating and messing around between, call it 82 and 90 for the majority of this morning. You can see prices got back inside the thick yellow lines here, so it's back inside the Bollinger Band. The Bollinger Bandwidth continues to expand. It's yesterday it was 7. Today it's 7.3. So as price stays in the bands a little bit longer, that number should normalize. Unless the bears really get on their horse here, then you start to look at your typical, the bounce that keeps on bouncing. You got the 100-day up here, you got the 50-day at 29.38, and then you start to look at 29.75 and falling rapidly, which is your daily mid-band. Not saying we are immediately headed there. What I am saying is if the bears don't push back in a meaningful way, and if they don't start to attempt over the course of the remainder of the week to make some lower lows and defend some areas as resistance, they will continue to get squeezed to the upside. Happened at the beginning of this year, it will happen again. They need that news flow to stay reaction negative so they can keep pulling that off. If not, there's going to be trouble. Hourly chart, you can see where it took us, right? Pre-FOMC price, we talked about it migrating back to the pre-FOMC price, which it did here, then it failed. There's your lower low. All we're really doing now is we're just getting in the flow of price. We were long yesterday about as much as we were short. It was that kind of day. Here's your regular session from yesterday, so you can see, relatively speaking, compared to all of this, we didn't really move much at all. And we're just kind of consolidating here in the mid 2800s, trying to figure out, what the next move is. You can see these bands are pretty tight here on the hourly chart. Anything of major significance is, pretty far away. You got 29.58 is the weekly pivot, monthly pivot 29.86, pre-FOMC price 30.16. You have made a higher high versus yesterday. The next logical area for the bulls to test would be the round number at 2,900. What do the bears want to do? They want to convert. They tried to convert the hourly midband last night. We were short for that. Made a nice little profit. Got stopped out overnight. But you want to convert the hourly midband. You want to make a run at the 28.45 daily pivot, and you want to convert it. And then you're going to need, some negative news flow. You're going to need some momentum if you have any hope of getting back towards 2820, 2800. Or anything with a 27 on it. That's going to take news in my mind. So, could we have another day of consolidation here? Sure. But the nice part about consolidation, don't forget, it leads to expansion. So, take your profits where you find them. Okay? And I'm not saying take your profits early. I'm saying let the trade be what the trade is going to be, but get your risk out. Be mindful of disaster stops, because we saw in yesterday's tape, we started to see a lot of serious two-sided whip. And that serious two-sided whip is just people, the price is just pushing people out of positions on both sides and then making the move. They didn't want anybody in some of these moves. And if you let yourself get whipped out, or if you stay, stubborn in a trade, you're going to end up taking more of a loss than you would if, this is the kind of tape that we saw in 2018. You see something, it's either going to immediately work for you or it's not. And if the answer is not, then you need to flip and get in the other side of it, because that will immediately work for you. Rather than be stubborn or this or that or the other, there's no time for that. Price isn't going to tolerate that. It's going to move in chunks when it wants to move. All right, have a great day. We'll have more stuff out on social. Come check us out. Come hang out in the room with us. Come take a trial. We'd love to meet you. It's a great place to learn how to trade this stuff. And if you already trade this stuff, it's a great place to trade it successfully with a lot of people that do that. Trade them well. I'll talk to you soon. Follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Princetontrader. Check us out on Facebook and join us for a free trial at www.princetontrader.com. Trade them well.